and didn't know how to explain it. Here's what happened. He says, dude, your thinking is like screwed up. You're saying something's wrong with my mind? Are you saying that I'm like mentally? No. I'm just saying you're making bad choices. See how quickly we dive out of that? But it's your thinking. And if you ever doubt that for a second, let me just hammer this home so that you understand. Every choice you have ever made, every choice you will ever make in your life is totally determined by how you think and what you think and how long you think about it and what you decide you will not think because you don't want to be distracted from thinking about what you need to think about. It's our thinking. All right, now this is good news. Because choices are like a quarter flip. But our thinking, you can control that. See, it's God's greatest paradox. As a man thinketh, so is he. How you think is how you end up. Right? So our thinking controls our choices, and yet you have free will, so you're actually able to choose how you will think. And the way that you choose how you think is by influencing what goes in. You choose how you think by what you read, by what you watch. Maybe more importantly, you choose what you think by what you will not watch, by what you will not read, by what you will not listen to. You determine what you will think by the people you put in your life. You know, these 7 decisions, these 7 principles, responsibility, every one of them we've heard of. Every one of them. We've heard every single stinking one of them. And yet, because we've heard them, we know them. And because we know what we know, all we know about responsibility, that's the very first one. And we all kind of, okay, I hear about that every day. You can't listen to talk radio or ESPN without hearing somebody say something about responsibility. And yet, there are 2 sides to this. There's one side that says, until these people accept responsibility, these people are never going to be able to. And the other side goes, but it's not their fault. Don't you understand what their mothers were like? Right? 2 totally different extremes. And yet, curiously, neither side understands responsibility at a foundational level. Because if our country, if we understood responsibility, we would have an economy that was kicking on all cylinders. We wouldn't have a jobless rate, okay? We would have an economy and relationships that were absolutely unbelievable because responsibility has nothing to do with blaming people about where they are or where they're from or why they did. Responsibility has everything to do with hope and control. And who among us doesn't want to have hope for a greater future that we can actually control? Who doesn't want that? All right? But if you blame your mama, if you blame the weather, if you blame the economy or the environment, or if you blame the president, or blame your neighbor, there's very little hope there because there's zero control. I mean, if I've ended up in this horrible place, and where I have ended up, really, if it really is the fault of the President of the United States of America, I might as well jump off a cliff. Well, what the heck am I going to do about the President today? Whoever the President happens to be. I mean, if where I've ended up is my wife's fault, I don't know about you, I can't control my wife. What the heck are we going to do about my wife? Right? But if somehow I can look in the mirror and I can say, you know what? I've had some crazy things happen in my life. I've had some tragedies happen. And I couldn't control any of them. But I have made choices. Because of my thinking, I've made choices that have led me right down a place to where I don't like. If we can understand and believe that our thinking can lead us to choices that will lead us to a place we don't like, that's great news. Because if you can understand and believe that your thinking can create choices that lead you to a place you don't like, doesn't it just make line is we shift our thinking so that we make different choices, so that we end up in a different place. I mean, there is nobody in here or in the world that doesn't have tragedy and crazy and crisis. I mean, come on. We're all either in a crisis, coming out of a crisis, or headed for a crisis. That's part of being with us on this planet. Okay? And so to learn how to deal with this, look, I'm not telling you anything to tell you, I don't know your numbers. I don't know your history. I've read about you. You know what I'm saying? I know some people, Tommy and Lisa Harper here, old friends of mine. I know, but I don't know everything about what you did, okay? However, I will tell you this. There is a history of principle that will allow you to do something that nobody else does on the planet. But it also tells me that there are certain situations that you will be in because it's life. Trying to figure out how I was going to add extreme value to companies or teams, it came about by me figuring out I wasn't adding a lot of value to companies and teams. Beyond the entertainment and the fun and the, just throwing out some encouragement and blah, blah. Because I knew, when I thought about it, I never had anybody call me up and say, hey, since you were here, we've done millions of dollars because of what you did. And so I began to try to examine, what did I do? And why did I do it that way? And what did they say? And one of the things that, you start to track what people tell you. Okay, so one of the things that I just know, because I would hear about it everywhere, is everybody say, well, we're in a period of change now, and things are changing now, and things have changed a lot since. We're about to initiate a change, and because the government regulations is changing, because of technology, we're checking out everywhere I go. They're talking about change everywhere, so it led me to believe the obvious, which is that is a constant. It's an always, and as I would look at how people would be affected by it, I would see so many people give up because of change. I would see so many people go, boy, you talk about the stream. You be careful because people will follow just the easiest, right? I mean, you want it to be easy if it is effective. But if you have to change something, there's going to have to be a boulder in the middle to divert where we're going. And some people are going to get bent out of shape about it. There's never been a boulder there before. Okay. Well, you can crawl out on and just stay on the boulder the rest of your life, but we're going around the boulder, under the boulder, over the boulder. We'll be downstream while you're stuck on the boulder. See, here's the thing. If we're talking about thinking, here's what I want you to understand. With every change, there is always a tentativeness in the field. There's always. And getting maximum value for the change means reducing the time that the field is tentative. A tentative spirit comes from confusion. Well, let's figure out what's happening here. Until we know exactly. People are scared of confusion. They're scared of adversity. They're scared of confusion. And because of that, people will dive away. They'll dive to the side, right on the edge of confusion. Right when they start to experience a little confusion, start to experience a little adversity, they will dive to the side. It'll scare them to death, and they will leave, they will wait, they'll stop, because they believe that life and business is about choice, and they don't understand the foundation of thinking. So how do we think about confusion. Now, we're back to this thing about evolving what we know. Right? Because people, for years, what they know is confusion is bad. This is what people know. Confusion is bad. So they stop until the confusion is gone. All right? Now, if they hang around, if they manage to hang around till the confusion is gone, at the very best, they're way behind everybody else. But for the most part, people will run into that confusion and they will leave because they don't understand the foundation of the thinking and they don't understand the truth. Now let me tell you what the truth is about confusion. And don't even try to tell me, oh, I'm not confused, because I don't care if it's this business or your home or something in town. We are all facing confusion at some point every bit of time of our lives. Okay? But here's the truth about confusion. Confusion guards the treasure. Confusion guards the treasure. Now listen to me, listen to me. A very accurate meter of a person's maturity is their ability to deal with confusion, but an even more accurate, a more accurate understanding of a high level of maturity is shown us by a person who is able to live in confusion. Right, now listen to me. Here's why. Here's why. Because if you are continuing on with life and business and you are working even while you are confused, if confusion guards the treasure and you are working in confusion and living in confusion, then you're closer to the treasure than the person who stops on the outside edge of confusion. Does that make sense? All right, now listen. A person's maturity can be defined by their ability to live in confusion. Confusion guards the treasure. The bigger the treasure, the more confusion. All right, listen to me. There is a certain amount of confusion that everybody is willing to live with. And even immature people are willing to live with 10 seconds of confusion. Now, another way of looking at confusion is, what is confusion? Well, confusion is we don't know the answer. We just don't know the answer. We don't know the pathway. We don't know the exact answer. All right? And so we're confused. All right? So the average person is willing to exist in 10 or 15 seconds of confusion because there is a confusion every time a letter comes into your mailbox and you don't know what's inside. And you don't know, is it a bill? Is it a check? Is it good news? Is it bad news? You know what it is. And there is 10 or 15 seconds worth of confusion that everybody's willing to live with. Because nobody goes, I'm not even knowing. I just can't deal with it. Opening it. You know? I mean, everybody, but there is too, because it's like, do I need to say this address? Shoot. I mean, did I open it at the end? Okay, there's 10 or 15 seconds. And we're willing to go through that to get it. Now, the longer that period of time is, the more you will see people fall away. But whether it is 15 months or 15 seconds, the truth is the truth that confusion guards the treasure. And it makes total sense that confusion guards the treasure. Because every time you don't know the answer, you are confused, correct? But every You found the answer? You didn't know the answer. It was that quick. Listen, there's so much. Oh, I would love to talk to you all day. There's so much that we have that we can begin to understand. Hey, write this down. Anybody's taking notes? Write. I got 5 digits for you. 33444. Write that down. 33444. That is a text number. All right? That is a text to me. And if you will text that number and in the message, only write this word. One word. Parenting. Okay? Right? You text 33444 and in the message with parenting. I will send you 4 free videos. 18, 20-minute videos I did on parenting that will light up your business. Okay? Because there are things that we want to understand. All right? These 7 things, these 7 decisions, responsibility, seeking wisdom, which is totally different. Seeking wisdom is totally different from knowledge. Everybody defaults to knowledge. I mean, we all know. Any 12-year-old can learn how to drive a car. Any 12-year-old has the mental and physical ability to learn how to drive a car. But if you taught them how to drive a car, you're still not going to throw them the keys and say, have a great weekend. Because they don't have the wisdom to apply that knowledge in a consistent manner and in the proper context. Seeking wisdom. Number 3 is action. Doing something. Yeah, God feeds the birds, but He doesn't throw the worms in their nest. You really got to do something. Okay? Doing something brings adrenaline. It brings ideas. Number 4 is having a decided heart. You know what a decided heart is. I'll tell you this. More people fail at what they do because of an undecided heart than for any other reason. Undecided heart people they have a decision to make. They'll think about it. They'll talk about it. They'll research it. Then they'll make the decision. Then they'll talk to the family about whether they should have made the decision. All right? Talk to the friends about what the family says. Then they'll take the decision back. Then when they take it back, they'll talk to the friends about whether they should have taken it back or stayed with it. And life becomes this ongoing state of analysis. Look, this is really clear. The purpose of analysis, see, this is thinking logically to an incomplete conclusion. It's dangerous because there is a huge value that has been placed in our society today on analyzing and consulting and best practices. And people just, they thrive on analysis. But you got to understand that analysts and consultants, they make their money as long as they're analyzing and consulting. And if you will understand the foundation of analysis and understand what its purpose is, the purpose of analysis is to come to a conclusion. The purpose of analysis is not to continue to analyze. I mean, because you see people, they spend so much time analyzing decisions they already made, they ain't got the energy left to do what they said they decided. Then when it fails, they blame the analysis. Listen, you could not possibly get enough facts to be able to make perfect decisions about your future. You just can't unless you can tell the future. And the psychic network went out of business. You'd have thought they'd have seen that coming, right? But it's just like driving a car. You do not get in your car and put the thing in drive and hit the gas and sit back and read a paperback. You know where you're going, but there's adjustments you're going to have to make along the way. Sometimes you get confused, but when you get lost in the car, what do you always know? You're going to find out where you're going again. So it's not that horrible. You know you're going to get there. You know that future. Number 5 is to have an emotional IQ. To be able to be mature and choose to act in a certain way despite how you feel. I have 2 boys. My wife and I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. And there's a lot of things we're teaching them so that they will be great adults. And I want to tell you, maybe the most important thing is that much of your success in life will be determined by your ability to act in a certain way to a devastatingly incomplete conclusion. Because if we understand how our economy works, if we understand how our relationships work, nobody cares how anybody feels. They only care how you act. From the time you were a little kid, every good thing that happened to you, not a single one of them happened because of how you felt. Every girl who liked you, every teacher who gave you the benefit of the doubt, every coach who said, on Friday night, you're starting. I mean, did it have anything to do with how you felt? I mean, when you began to apply for a position somewhere, did you ever have anybody say, hey, if I give you the job, how are you going to feel? Listen, this is why we teach children manners. Because we all know that a kid who grows into a 25-year-old adult with exceptional manners has many more opportunities than a kid who grows into a 25-year-old adult with average manners. Okay? And so this is thinking to a foundation. To learn how to act despite how you feel. To learn how to smile while you talk. This is huge. You learn how to smile while you talk, you will see your income and your results go through the roof. And most people don't do it. And people have a hard, you learn how to smile while you talk. All right. People can't help it. And then you get good at it. And you start throwing this one in there. You know? Just smile while you talk, that little nod. See, she's not. She don't know why she's not, but she's not. People that are smiling and nodding, they can't say no to nothing. They like to, but they can't get their head to work. Number 6 is forgiveness. Forgiveness. And I'm not talking about being forgiven, okay? That's a spiritual touchstone for many of us. I'm talking about what is it you're thinking about when you're laid awake at night and think about that guy and what he said, what you said is stupid, what you would have said if you had a minute. This person's across town sleeping peacefully unaware we're even been out of shape, right? And so, we have the ability to forgive. It's a decision, it's not an emotion. If you remember Psychology 101, our emotions follow our decisions. So you may have to forgive, and then forgive again, and then forgive again, and this person don't even know what's going on. You maybe have to forgive, 7 times or 7 times 70. All right, but here's the cool thing. I can't find any book or any expert to tell me for one person to forgive another person that person has to ask for it, deserve it, or even know that they're being forgiven. Turns out that forgiveness is about us. So don't mistake forgiveness and trust. People say, what, they're going to get away with it? No. Forgiveness is about us. Trust is about them. Forgiveness is about us doing away with our past. So there's not an anchor on our neck. Trust is about the future. Do we forgive somebody who lies to us? Sure. Do we continue to believe everything they say? No. Okay? And the second part of this forgiveness thing, and boy, we're running out of time. And I know they're 14. Oh, look, they're going backwards. I love that when the numbers go backwards. So we got 20, 21, 22. We got more time. It is important for you to forgive yourself. Right? Daily. When we have a business of our own, when we're living with families, when we work, we have to learn how to clear the debts. All right? And so it is important to understand that you really, me, all the people who have offended me in my life, nobody has ever disappointed me as much as I have disappointed me. And I couldn't even lie about it. I knew everything I've done. Right? And I'm just going to tell you, it's tough to live with an enemy who has a fort in your head. And so you really do have to banish that. Throw down that whip and that stick you've been beating yourself over the back and neck and shoulders with. Forgive without exception, by definition, that means you have bumped up against a wall where it looks like there ain't no way. All right? Well, persisting without exception means now you find a way where there is no way. So what does that look like? I'll tell you what it doesn't look like. You are never lacking money. You are never lacking time. And you're never lacking leadership. You're lacking one thing, an idea. One idea. One idea. Where do ideas come from? They come from our thinking. One idea can change everything. You and I both know we've seen one idea that has made billions of dollars. We've seen one idea that has saved billions of lives. And one idea will move you from where you are to where you want to be. An idea is just a shift in thinking. That's all it is. And an idea